Am I the a-hole for telling my parents that I don't think of them as parents anymore? My 17 female parents got divorced when I was 9, and probably for the best because they sucked together. The road to get there was messy, and they still don't get along and use any little thing to get at each other. So I've learned to just keep my head down and take care of myself. They both were dating before the ink was dry on the divorce, so remarriages happened a few years ago. My stepdad is alright. He's the only person who didn't expect me to be happy about everything or try to force me to bond, so we stay in our lanes and get along. His son is older than me and overseas in the military, so I haven't had to meet him. But he and my mom recently had a baby. My stepmom is meh, not bad but kind of interfering and doesn't stay in her lane. So I have no interest in forming any kind of relationship with her beyond what's necessary to live in the same house. That upsets her, but she's a big girl and can deal with disappointment. It's not going to change at this point. Her kids are still in single digits and kind of irritating, so I avoid them when possible. My parents were busy dating and now dealing with their new families, so I've mostly been left to do my own thing. And when I'm home at either place, I stay in my room and mind my own business. I just got my college acceptance and scholarships finalized, so I'm planning for graduation. I'll be working away for the summer, and it would be more convenient travel-wise just to go directly from there to school in the fall. I already have most necessities with me, and can travel light and buy what I need for my dorm when I get there. My stepmom wants me to come back for a couple of weeks because people will want to spend time with me before I go to school. I told her that wouldn't be necessary. She told my dad, who asked me why, and I told him that at this point we don't have to all pretend we like each other anymore. So it's probably best to call it like it is, and for me to just go and spend some time away for a while. He has his family, mom has hers, and I'm just the last remnant of a failed relationship. So once I'm gone, we're all finally free. They've spent the years since the divorce being more like legal guardians than parents anyway, and I haven't thought of them as actual parents for a long time. It turned into a big circus. My dad blames my mom and my mom blames my dad who writes a script. They're both very hurt. My stepmom thinks I'm being very cruel. My stepdad just said, "You feel how you feel." Now I have to go to counseling. But really, I feel like it needed to be said finally because the elephant has been in the room for a while. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. 1 point, don't treat the counseling as a punishment. You might actually need support and a professional can provide it. You will recognize if the counselor is a professional by whether he will actually provide emotional support or whether he will try to force you into relationships with people regardless of their horrible treatment of you. There's irony in neither of her parents realizing that they went and immediately proved her point. At least stepdad is chill. Not a-hole. Your plan makes sense and I agree with your chill stepdad. You feel how you feel. They can go to therapy if they are very hurt. But you should be able to move on with your life that you have already taken steps forward with. College, scholarships, job, and to be left alone if that is what you want. That's a very sad view to take on to therapy. I mean, I agree with stepdad's comment, but therapy is not a punishment. If she has some emotional load to unpack, hello, keeping this sort of thing in for years, she should take the opportunity. Therapy isn't cheap, so it may take years for her to afford it for herself if she later decides it would benefit her. OP, if nothing else, think about your future and take advantage of the therapy. What can it hurt? Not stay home. It sounds as if they were busy with themselves and still are. Because they are hurt. And I don't read any concern for your feelings, only how it makes them feel. But go to counseling. This is an opportunity and you should take it. Not because anything here is your fault, but a good counselor probably will tell your parents they need to address your feelings and have them look at how they handled things. Next story. Am I the a-hole for sending my cousin the bill for my kid's birthday cake because her kid ruined it? We recently threw my 5-year-old a birthday party. He hasn't had a real birthday party since he was 2 years old due to COVID, so this was the first one he'd actually remember. We wanted to make it special, so we invited all our closest friends, family members, and their kids. One of my cousins, a single mom, has a very unruly 6-year-old. He is loud, disobedient, and a nightmare in public. When it came time to blow out the candles and cut the birthday cake, he came and stood directly next to my son. I anticipated what was going to happen next, and asked my husband to stand behind this kid in case he tried to pull anything. After we sang, this kid kept trying to blow out the candles. My husband kept blocking him and pulling him back, and we could tell the kid was getting frustrated. Eventually, my son blew out the candles and the kid absolutely lost it. He threw a tantrum and slammed his entire arm into the cake, knocking it into the table. It was so awkward. Everyone gasped and got quiet. My son looked up at us and I could tell he was about to start crying. In an effort to not cause a bigger scene, my husband picked him up and whispered to him that we had another special cake just for him. We didn't, and he seemed to calm down. Meanwhile, his cousin was still standing there screaming and crying, his arm covered in cake, while his mom was nowhere to be seen. I walked him over to the sink and washed him off, and quietly told him that he shouldn't have done that to the cake, and that he should apologize to his cousin for what he did. He screamed no in my face and then ran away. My husband ended up running out to buy a sheet cake that we cut and served to everyone. I spoke to my cousin after the party about what happened since she wasn't in the room, and she brushed it off saying kids will be kids. I completely disagree. I've been to plenty of birthday parties where the other kids let the birthday boy/girl have their moment. I suggested she pay for the ruined cake, and she looked at me like I was crazy. I told her how important it was to us that this birthday be special to my son, since it would be the first one he remembered, and how all he would remember was that his cousin ruined a special moment. She got extremely defensive and refused to pay for anything. She then accused me of acting like the perfect mom and began to list the ways in which I was in fact not perfect. It was a hurtful conversation and we haven't spoken since. I sent her the bill for the ruined cake and she has not paid us. I actually feel she should pay for both cakes, since her kid is the reason we had to get another one, but I didn't go that far. My husband thinks she'll never pay us and that I should drop the issue at this point. He says that since she's a single mom, it's probably hard on her, and we should cut them both some slack. I understand that, but I feel like it's just letting her and her son off the hook, and this will lead to even bigger problems in the future if we don't hold them accountable. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. But you'll never get your money and I think you made a point. The kid is a jerk because the parent is a jerk. No longer invite them to any parties and enjoy your immediate family because they seem nice. I agree. You will never get your money back. Your only way to go from here is to cut her out completely, because her son and her bad parenting will only get worse. Plus, holding them accountable isn't going to be the magic lesson that resolves all their issues. Not stay whole, but obviously she's not going to pay for the cake. Don't invite her to any more occasions or events and just write her off. Her son is going to have massive problems in the future no matter what. It's not your responsibility, nor do you even have the ability to prevent that. Hounding her about paying for the cake isn't going to make any difference at all, except make both of you feel more anger and resentment. Believe me, when your son is older, he's going to remember, oh yeah, I remember a-hole cousin Joe ruined my cake that year. I wonder if he's out of jail yet. Yeah. I used to date someone whose younger nephews were this level of entitled. The last time I heard anything, about 12 to 14 years after we broke up, was them in the news being arrested for various destructive stuff. My thought at the time was, not surprising. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit one of my nieces anymore because she stole my son's medicine because she thought it was chocolate? I am a stay-at-home mom of 5 boys, and because I am the only one in our family who doesn't have a job, I also watch my 2 nieces, 5 and 11. Only the 5-year-old is my brother's genetic child. The 11-year-old is from my sister-in-law's previous relationship. Normally, I would have never mentioned that because our family treats both girls the same, of course, but it's relevant in this case. Since my brother and sister-in-law and parents all still work, they come over to my house every day and I care for them and help them with their virtual schooling along with my own kids. One of my boys has a problem with chronic constipation, to the point that he's had a problem with encaprices because of it. Doctors still don't know exactly what is wrong. We're still trying to figure it out. One of his medicines he has to take every day is those X-Lax chocolate bars. He has 1/2 square every morning. We've had issues in the past with the kids asking for chocolate because they see my son eat some, but I've explained it's not really candy, but son's medicine. My other son understands and is fine with it. There have been a few times my sister-in-law has asked if I could get a normal chocolate bar for the other kids, so everyone gets chocolate in the morning to make it fair. I refuse to do that because my kids don't need chocolate every day. And it wouldn't be fair to my son because this medicine is fairly bitter and certainly does not taste like real chocolate. So long story short, the 11-year-old ended up stealing all of my son's medicine and ate the whole thing one afternoon when I wasn't looking. Obviously, this did not turn out well for her, and her parents had to take her to the hospital because she was so sick. I was furious because she knew that was not allowed, but she said it wasn't fair that my son always got chocolate and she didn't. I told brother that I didn't want to watch 11-year-old anymore because I can't trust her not to steal my son's medicine. Sister-in-law is furious, saying she has no one else to watch her, and I could have fixed this by letting her daughters have chocolate to make it fair. I said I will still watch the 5-year-old, but not the 11-year-old, who is mad at me too and not apologetic at all. Brother is begging me to look past this, but honestly, I don't want to. I am so mad that she did this, and now I have to buy more medicine. Am I the a-hole? She is only 11, but she knew what she did was wrong and still says it's unfair. So how do I know she won't do it again? Just not eat as much? I don't know. Edit. Forgot to add that sister-in-law is accusing me of not wanting to watch 11-year-old because she is not related to me like 5-year-old is. Obviously, that is not true. I love them both equally. I just don't like the behavior of the eldest. The 5-year-old behaves fine. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You clearly explained that it was not chocolate and in fact medicine. Her mother needs to check herself. Not only does her daughter owe you an apology, so does she. You are providing a service that many parents have to pay thousands a month for. You certainly don't owe her daughter snacks that you wouldn't be giving your own children. Medicine is medicine, no matter what it looks like. If she wants to give her child candy, she can do so in her own home. I can only imagine how this girl will end up when she can steal medicine, not have to apologize and apparently suffer no consequences for her actions. She'll be a nightmare in a few years. Or dead. Dead is a realistic option too, because she ate probably days worth of medicine she didn't know anything about. This girl will die of an overdose in my eyes. Scenario. But Mom, I hope he drinks whiskey. I want whiskey too. My best friend has an uncle who got away with everything just like this girl. He's now a 30-year heroin addict in methadone therapy and is dying very, very, very slowly. Her grandmother, who had a big part in his addiction, is 88 now. She spent most of what should have been her retirement and most of her resources keeping him housed, sporadically sober, fed, and out of jail. Oddly, she was super strict on her other 2 kids. They have gone low contact because she kept asking them for money to support the older brother. So many lives ruined because she let him do whatever he wanted as a child. Free childcare, free chocolate, not offering to pay to replace the medicine? Your sister-in-law sounds like she will take from you as much as possible. And if the 5-year-old does something harmful/expensive in the future, I wouldn't expect her to offer to make amends for it either. I'm sorry your generosity has been taken advantage of, not stay home. Right? Holy moly! She should be grateful to have free childcare and discipline her child. My eyes rolled at the idea that you have to give everyone chocolate in the morning to make it fair. 11 years old is old enough to listen and not act out like that after understanding no means no. Doesn't matter what arguments are made, it's all moot. You've made a decision and that's that. You don't even need a reason to stop watching any children besides your own. Do not give in. Last story. Am I the a-hole for splitting chores between my daughters equally? I have 2 daughters, Sadie 23 female and Hannah 15 female. Sadie moved back in with us after she got her college degree. She's not working at the moment and my wife, her stepmom, complained about her not helping out, or at least keeping the house clean. Instead, she goes out with friends mostly daily, or sits chatting or watching Netflix for hours. I had a talk with Sadie and let her know that it's time to help out. I gave her a list of chores to do and she said, whatever, but I still made sure she does them all. A few days ago, Sadie complained about how unfair it is that she has a list of chores to get done while Hannah doesn't. I figured that yes, she's right. And so I went ahead and made an equal list of chores for Hannah, since Sadie stopped doing anything till there's some equality achieved in the house. The problem occurred when Hannah saw the list. She said it was unfair that she gets an equal list of chores as her sister, without keeping in mind that she, Hannah, has school, has piano lessons and homework and therapy appointments, while Sadie sits around or hangs out with friends all day, then come home being free of homework or school. I told her it's all about equality. I don't care which one has more time to spare. Hannah got upset and brought my wife into it. My wife said it's unreasonable to give two girls of different ages, different routines, and responsibilities the same list of chores. I again insisted that I am trying to establish equality, which is the most important thing. Yet my wife said I'm being unfair and requested I give Hannah a smaller list, but I refused. We began fighting, and I flat out told her that just because Hannah is her biological daughter doesn't mean she gets to be favored and cuddled. My wife got pissed over my statement and claimed I was enabling Sadie's irresponsible behavior. We went back and forth on this several times till we both blew up at each other. The girls have noticed because of the tension, and the house is now basically split into two teams. We still haven't reached an agreement, and my wife is choosing to die on this hill. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You say you're trying to establish equality, but all you're doing is punishing Hannah for Sadie's laziness. You tell your wife she's favoring her daughter. What do you think you are doing? They're not in the same place in life and should not be treated the same. Sadie sounds like a lazy freeloader, whom you've likely catered to her whole life, hence the attitude. And Hannah does work. Equality doesn't work this way. If someone pushes another person down, you don't comfort them both to keep things equal. Hannah's responsibilities include school and other things she does for her health. Having someone load a dishwasher when they aren't doing anything and dumping that on top of someone who is writing a paper before bed isn't equality. The total number of hours/energy exerted Hannah has on her plate is already there. If you put that on a scale and added the chores Sadie has to do, it would not be balanced. As an aside, I'm glad Hannah's in therapy. Very glad. You're the a-hole. Sadie can get off her butt and clean, and she needs a job ASAP. Hannah had a job. It's called school. Your wife is right, and this is really horrible parenting on your part. Stop enabling Sadie by punishing the child that has done nothing wrong. Having chores is one thing, but it's pretty obvious that was never required before. And I'd bet money that Sadie didn't have any when she was Hannah's age.